Welcome back, folks. If you've ever dropped a penny and didn't bother picking it up, today's story might just change your mind forever, because we're about to talk about a tiny copper coin that's made some very big noise in the collector world, the 1976 Lincoln Memorial Penny. That's right. A coin that most people wouldn't look at twice has shaken up auctions with a jaw-dropping price tag of $1 million, and now, imagine digging through your old pocket change, finding this exact coin, and realizing you're holding a fortune in your hand. You'd never look at spare change the same way again, would you? Stay with me, because what makes this coin valuable isn't just its date or the little d under the year. It's the story, the history, the imperfections, and the market frenzy that's built up around it. And I promise, by the end of this video, you'll be heading straight for your junk drawer, coin jar, or the dusty old box in the attic. But before we dive deep, let me ask you something. What if your retirement wasn't sitting in a 401k, but inside your sock drawer? Part 1, The Birth of a Coin, 2:30 to 6 o'clock. Let's go back to 1976. America was celebrating its bicentennial, the country's 200th birthday. The flag flew higher, parades were bigger, and fireworks lit up every state from California to Maine. It was a time of pride, reflection, and yes, patriotism. In the middle of all that celebration, the U.S. Mint in Denver was business as usual, producing billions of coins to keep the economy flowing. Among these was the humble Lincoln Memorial Penny. Made mostly of copper, this penny featured Abraham Lincoln on the front, with the Lincoln Memorial Building on the back. Nothing flashy. Nothing extraordinary. But here's where things get interesting. Not every coin that rolls off the press is identical. Some are struck twice. Some are off-center. Some are missing elements. These little quirks, often overlooked, are what collectors live for. And the 1976 penny? Well, let's just say, it's got a few secrets. The version that turned heads and cashed in big came with a very specific combination of traits: a perfectly preserved strike, a unique die error, and an ultra-rare minting anomaly. Some call it a double die, others refer to it as a misaligned die strike. Either way, it was a happy little accident at the Denver Mint, and it made one penny worth more than a house. Now, here's the cliffhanger. It wasn't discovered immediately. For years, it circulated in pockets, piggy banks, maybe even vending machines. Until one day, a sharp-eyed collector spotted it. Something looked off. The details were unusual. Lincoln's features were more pronounced, the rim was slightly doubled, and the color had a richer tone. The coin eventually made its way into a coin grading agency, where experts ran tests, examined the metal composition, and reviewed the strike quality. And what they found shocked everyone. Not only was this 1976 penny in near-perfect condition, it had never been cleaned, scratched, or handled carelessly. It was what collectors call mint state. Combine that with its unique die variety, and you've got yourself a unicorn in the coin world. And now, imagine the collector's face when the appraiser looked up and said, "You're sitting on $1 million coin." Not at all. Coin value is a precise science mixed with a bit of passion. First, there's rarity, how many exist? Then comes condition, has it been circulated or is it pristine? Then, historical significance, error type, and market demand. For the 1976 Lincoln penny, all the stars aligned. It's rare. It's got a striking error. It's in mint condition, and collectors are desperate to own it. As baby boomers retire and more collectors enter the market, the demand for these rare pieces has skyrocketed. And the $1 million price tag? That's not a one-off. If anything, it's just the beginning. Let me share something personal. A few years ago, a man named Carl from Ohio reached out to a local auction house. He was recently retired, cleaning out his old belongings. In a forgotten jar of coins, he found a bunch of 70s pennies. One of them, he noticed, had a strange luster. He used the money to pay off his mortgage, bought a small cabin in the Smoky Mountains, and now spends his mornings fishing with his grandkids. All thanks to a penny he almost threw away. There are countless stories like this. People just like you, middle-aged men, veterans, retired truckers, factory workers, finding hidden treasure in places they never expected. And guess what? The next story could be yours. Let's talk specifics. If you want to find $1 million 1976 penny, here's what to look for. It must have the small d under the year, indicating it was struck in Denver. Look for doubling on the date, especially the 9 or the 6. Also check Lincoln's eye, beard, and bow tie. A misaligned rim or extra thickness can be a sign of a minting anomaly. An untouched, red copper tone is gold in the collector's world, should be around 3.11 grams. Any deviation could suggest a rare planchet error. Use a magnifying glass, take your time, and be thorough. You're not just hunting coins, you're chasing financial freedom. First, don't clean it ever. Cleaning ruins the value. Second, get it authenticated. Reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC can certify your coin, giving it a professional grade and increasing its market appeal. Third, go to auction. Heritage auctions, Stacksbowers, or even eBay. If you know what you're doing, these are your stages, and always have a minimum reserve. This isn't a garage sale, it's a historic transaction. To some, it's just a penny. To others, it's the golden ticket. The 1976 D Lincoln penny proves that value isn't always about appearance. It's about history, rarity, and a little bit of luck. And who knows, maybe you've already got one in your collection, quietly waiting for the day it changes your life. Don't ignore your change. Don't toss out old jars. Because one coin, one moment, one lucky find, could be your $1 million story. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new, drop a comment below and tell me what's the oldest coin you've ever found? And if you've got a 1976 D penny sitting around, go check it right now. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel where pocket change becomes potential fortune. If you've ever reached into your drawer, grabbed a handful of pennies, and thought nothing of it, today's story might just change your life, because somewhere out there, hiding in plain sight, is a 2013 no-mint Mark Lincoln Memorial penny that's taken the numismatic world by storm. Its market value? A jaw-dropping $1.1 million. That's right. One tiny copper-colored coin, worth more than most people's homes. And what's even crazier? It could be sitting in your change jar right now. So don't go anywhere, because over the next 30 minutes, we're diving deep into what makes this humble-looking penny so valuable, how to identify it, why collectors are paying astronomical prices, and the hidden secrets that only seasoned experts know. And somewhere in this story, there's a twist that even veteran collectors didn't see coming. The United States Mint was producing billions of coins that year. The Lincoln penny had already gone through several design changes since 1909, but in 2013, it still featured the familiar Union shield on the reverse and Lincoln's iconic portrait on the obverse. But then, something happened. A small batch of pennies, very small, slipped through the cracks during production. These were struck without a mint mark. Now normally, a penny minted in Philadelphia wouldn't have a mint mark anyway. So why all the fuss? Because these particular coins weren't just missing a mint mark, they had something else going on. A subtle dye error. A faint doubling. A specific color tone. And a nearly perfect strike. This coin wasn't just any 2013 penny. It was different in every microscopic detail. Let's clear up some confusion. Yes, Philadelphia minted coins typically don't have a mint mark. So why is a 2013 penny with no mint mark turning heads? In 2013, the Philadelphia Mint changed the composition of some of its penny dies. A test run was done using an experimental planchet and ultra-high-grade copper zinc blend. It wasn't meant to enter circulation. What makes this penny even more unusual is the strike quality. The details of Lincoln's hair, cheekbones, and even the folds of his suit are sharper than usual. That means it was struck using a fresh die under perfect pressure. A museum-quality coin that somehow ended up in the wild. Out of the billions minted, only a tiny handful were found with this combination of characteristics. One of them sold at private auction for over $1.10 million. Now let me tell you about Harold Matthews, a retired postmaster from Kansas City. In 2019, Harold was sorting through a coin roll he picked up from a local bank, something he did every Saturday morning for Ifyou. At first glance, it was just another modern penny. No mint mark. Decent shine. But something told Harold it was different. Maybe it was the thickness of the rim, or the way the light bounced off Lincoln's coat. He sent it to a grading service just to be sure. 3 weeks later, the phone call came in. They told him, flat out, that he was sitting on a 7-figure coin. Harold nearly dropped the phone. What followed was a bidding war that took place behind closed doors. The final price? $1.1 million. Harold kept another roll from that same batch. He's still going through it, penny by penny. Imagine that. A man pushing 70, finding wealth not in stocks, not in real estate, but in copper. And now, if you're thinking, how can I find one of these? Let's break it down. Start with the basics. You want a 2013 penny with no mint mark. That rules out Denver and San Francisco issues. But that alone isn't enough. A flawless or near flawless surface, strong luster, even after 10 years, die doubling around the lettering, especially on Liberty and the date. An unusually thick or sharp rim. A high quality strike with exceptional detail on Lincoln's features. If you've got a magnifying glass or even a cheap USB microscope, now's the time to use it. You're not hunting for any old penny. You're hunting for perfection, and here's something most people miss: the weight. This penny should weigh slightly different from standard copper-plated zinc coins. If it's even a fraction off, it might be one of the test planchets. Simple. Rarity, condition, and the thrill of the hunt. We're living in a time when coin collecting isn't just a hobby anymore, it's an investment strategy. High net worth collectors, private museums, and even hedge funds are getting into the rare coin game. This penny, with its unique combination of rarity and historical significance, has become a white whale. And here's the twist I promised you earlier. Point 2 of the top coin dealers in the US believe there are at least 3 more of these rare 2013 no mint mark pennies still unaccounted for. One was rumored to surface in Ohio but vanished before it could be authenticated. It's a modern treasure hunt with million-dollar stakes. It's open to anyone with an eye for detail and a little patience. Maybe in your kitchen drawer, in your car's cup holder, or in that old coffee can in the attic, could be a single coin that changes your life. This isn't just about a penny. It's about paying attention. About not overlooking the small things. Because sometimes, the things we pass off as worthless are hiding untold value. So tonight, when you get home, I want you to do one thing. Dump out that change jar. Get a good light. Grab a magnifier. And start looking, because millionaires aren't always made in boardrooms. Sometimes, they're made at the kitchen table, with a roll of pennies and a little faith. If you find that $1,000,000 coin, you know where to come back and share the story. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you want more coin secrets that can change your fortune. Gentlemen, what if I told you that a simple copper penny sitting at the bottom of your junk drawer could be worth more than a Ferrari, a beach house, or even a retirement nest egg? I'm talking about the mysterious and mind-blowing 1984 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny. A coin that's made headlines, turned heads, and most shockingly, fetched a jaw-dropping $1.2 million at auction. Now, if you're like most men between 30 and 70, you've probably handled thousands of pennies in your life without a second thought. But what if one of them could completely flip your financial story? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this penny is worth millions, how to spot one, and what to do if you ever find it. Let's dig into the treasure you never knew you had. The 1984 Lincoln Memorial penny looks ordinary at first glance. It's the kind of coin you'd flip to make a decision or throw into a wishing well, but here's where things get interesting. Unlike other pennies of its era, this coin has a unique story. There's no mint mark under the date. That's your first clue. The missing mint mark tells a bigger story than most realize. You see, back in the 80s, coins minted in Philadelphia often didn't carry mint marks, but that's not the only thing setting this particular coin apart. This 1984 penny comes with a rare doubling error known among collectors as a double die-obverse coin. The features on Lincoln's face, especially his ear and beard, appear to have a shadow-like second impression, not a smudge. Not a scratch. A real, mechanical doubling from the die itself. This isn't just a mistake, it's a minting mystery, and when that error meets the missing mint mark, what you're looking at is a 1 in a million combination. Literally hold that thought. The answer is coming, and it's bigger than you think. It's everything. There are millions of 1984 pennies out there, but only a handful carry this exact error. Less than 100 are believed to exist in premium condition. Even fewer are confirmed in what's called MS67 grade, mint state perfection. Now take that small number and add demand. Collectors, investors, historians, they all want a piece of this copper legend, and they're willing to pay big. $1,200,000. Let that sink in. A coin most folks ignore in their couch cushions went for more than most American homes, and that sale didn't happen in the 90s or early 2000s when coin fever was at a high. That happened recently, which tells us something big. Interest in rare coins is only growing. The answer lies in 3 forces coming together: historical significance, unbelievable rarity, and a mistake that became a masterpiece. But the story gets even crazier when we look at what caused this penny to exist in the first place. A heavy metal stamp used to impress the design onto a blank piece of metal. When the die is misaligned or pressed twice during setup, a doubling effect occurs. These are not modern-day digital errors, these were mechanical mistakes often made during manual adjustments or rushed production schedules, and in 1984, the US Mint was under pressure, millions of coins per day. Thousands of tons of copper moving through machinery. One small hiccup, One moment of human oversight and boom! A historical error was born. Because pennies were considered low-value production, there was no thought that anyone would be hunting for minor imperfections. Fast forward 4 decades, and collectors are scanning coins with magnifying glasses, high-def cameras, and even microscopes, because now, a smudge of history on a penny could buy you a mansion in Miami. But if you think this coin is rare, wait till you hear how hard it is to find one in perfect condition. The truth is, it's not just about finding the right coin, it's about finding it in the right condition. Coins go through a lot of vending machines, pockets, dirt, rain, heat. Each scratch or blemish drops the value. The $1.2 million coin, that one was untouched, uncirculated, and professionally graded by the best in the business. Grading agencies like PCGS and NGC inspect every detail: the luster, the rim, the clarity of Lincoln's features. Only coins that pass the strictest tests hit the MS67 or MS68 grade. If your coin looks shiny, sharp, and fresh, you're halfway to gold. But don't clean it ever. One guy once tried to polish his 1984 double-die penny. He turned a potential $900,000 coin into a $9 souvenir. So if you find a 1984 penny with no mint mark and a shadowed second ear on Lincoln, put it in a soft cloth. Don't touch it, send it to a grading service. That one move could change your retirement plan forever. But what are the odds you'll ever find one? Well, you'd be surprised. Don't underestimate your own home. Old jars, toolboxes, coffee cans filled with change from 30 years ago. These places are gold mines. Next up, estate sales, flea markets, garage cleanouts. You'd be amazed how many elderly folks collected coins without knowing what they had, and if they left it behind, someone might sell the whole batch for $5. And here's where experience comes into play. A men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, you've lived through the coin's lifetime. You remember Reagan, gas at $1. And yes, using change daily, that means there's a very real chance you've touched this $1 million penny before. You just didn't know what it was, but now you do, and now you're armed with the knowledge to recognize history and the power to profit from it. So let's imagine it: you find the penny, you spot the doubling on Lincoln's EAR. It has no mint mark. It's sharp, clean, uncirculated. The market right now is hot. Collectors are paying top dollar for certified treasures. But timing is everything. Wait too long and the excitement fades. Sell too early, and you might miss future value. Many men in your age group are planning retirement, thinking legacy. What better legacy than turning a forgotten coin into generational wealth? That's not just smart. That's powerful. But before we close this treasure hunt, there's one final twist. There's a rumor among high-end collectors. A whisper that a near-perfect MS-70 version of the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny may exist. If it ever surfaces, it won't go for $1.2 million. It'll go for double, maybe triple, and it could be in a coin jar in Kansas. Or under a floorboard in Florida. Or in your very own wallet. So before you spend that next penny, take a second look. You just might be holding history, and if you are, your story is about to change forever. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to check their pockets, because sometimes the road to wealth begins with the tiniest piece of copper. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a dusty old penny, and discovering it's worth more than your car, maybe even your house. Sounds impossible, right? What if I told you one little coin, a 1968 Lincoln Memorial penny, shocked collectors and hit a jaw-dropping market value of $1.3 million? Today, we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing numismatic discoveries of modern time. If you're a man between 30 and 70 who's ever held onto an old jar of change, this might just be your golden ticket. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, where to find it, and why this penny might be your chance to finally live the dream retirement lifestyle you've been planning for years. But before we get into how one single coin changed everything, let's rewind the clock. The year is 1968. The Vietnam War is raging. Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert F. Kennedy have just been assassinated. America is grieving, changing, searching for direction. Amidst all the chaos, the Denver Mint quietly rolls out the latest batch of Lincoln Memorial pennies. Millions were struck. Tens of millions. It was routine. But unknown to the world, a tiny fraction of those pennies would end up hiding a mistake, a flaw so rare, so subtle, that it would one day become a millionaire maker. Not just about a coin, but about a country at a turning point that gives the 1968 penny a layer of historical weight most coins just don't carry. The 1968 penny features the familiar Lincoln portrait on the front, the memorial reverse on the back, and the tiny D mint mark under the date showing it was minted in Denver. So why are some of these worth only 1 cent? While one sold for $1.3 million, it comes down to error, rarity, and condition, the three pillars of serious coin collecting. Some 1968 pennies were struck using older or mismatched dies. That created extremely rare variations, double dies, off-centers, and even coins struck on the wrong metal planchets. When these mistakes escape the mint undetected, they become legends in the collector world, and here's the catch: you'd never spot most of these with just a casual glance. That $1.3 million penny? It looked completely normal at first, the double die obverse, one of the most valuable errors out there. This is when the die that strikes the coin shifts slightly during production, causing letters and numbers on the front to appear doubled. On the 1968 D, this doubling can be seen on Liberty, In God We Trust, and even the date itself. Extremely rare. These are coins struck on metal blanks meant for other denominations, like dimes or foreign coins. If your 1968 D penny is thinner or silver colored, don't spend it. Get it authenticated. Then we have off-center strikes, where the coin's design isn't properly centered. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable it becomes, and finally, high-grade mint state examples. Even a regular 1968 D penny, with no errors at all, can fetch thousands if it's in pristine condition. We're talking about coins that look like they were just minted yesterday, but don't go running to your coin jar just yet. There's a twist. What shocks most people isn't just the value of these coins, but where they're discovered. A retired Navy veteran in Texas found one at the bottom of a drawer in his garage. It had been sitting there for over 30 years, mixed with loose screws and paper clips. A single father in Michigan spotted one while helping his daughter with a school coin project. A mechanic in Nevada used it as part of a tip jar display until a customer pointed out something looked strange about the lettering. These stories have one thing in common: ordinary folks, living ordinary lives, suddenly waking up to extraordinary fortunes. So you might be wondering, how do you actually sell one of these coins? If you find one, you'll need to send the coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine the coin under high magnification, assign it a grade, and verify any NIN errors. Once it's certified, you've got the real deal. Then comes valuation. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stacksbauers specialize in high-end coins. They've sold 1968 D varieties for hundreds of thousands, and in one legendary case, that $1.3 million sale, you don't need to be an expert. You just need to know where to turn, and here's the kicker: possibly hundreds of these valuable 1968 D coins out there. Unfound. Undiscovered. Hiding in jars, boxes, wallets, and old coffee tins across the country, which brings us to a question every man should ask himself tonight: what if that one old penny in your glove compartment, the one you meant to toss years ago, is worth over $1 million? You don't need to be a collector. You don't need a fancy magnifying glass or years of experience. All you need is awareness, curiosity, and a little time to look through what you already have. Remember, every $1 million coin ever discovered was once just another coin in circulation. It didn't get valuable overnight. It got valuable because someone took the time to notice what others overlooked, which brings us to this final point, one that could change your life. This isn't just a video about a coin. It's a wake-up call. In a world where prices go up and value goes down, these small pieces of copper and zinc might be your chance to finally get ahead. Whether you're retired, just starting your journey, or somewhere in between, it's not too late. Start checking your coins. Look through your drawers. Ask your parents or grandparents about the change they've been saving for decades. You never know what's sitting there, waiting to be found, and if you do find that elusive 1968 D $1 million penny, don't forget who told you first. Subscribe for more coin hunting tips, market updates, and unbelievable stories just like this. Because every penny has a story, and yours might be the one that makes history. You might want to check that old jar of coins sitting in the back of your drawer. Yes, the one covered in dust. Because what if I told you that a plain-looking penny from 1995, without even a mint mark, could be your ticket to a $1.4 million payday? You heard that right. A single Lincoln Memorial penny. No mint mark. And yet, it's one of the most talked about coins in the collecting world today. In today's video, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1995 no mint mark Lincoln penny. We'll explore why this coin is worth a fortune, the surprising details behind its value, how to identify one in your own pocket change, and exactly what collectors are looking for. Stick around, because by the time we're done, you might be looking at pennies in a whole new light. Let's start with some basics. The Lincoln penny has been in circulation since 1909, commemorating the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Over the decades, it's seen a number of design changes and minting variations. Now fast forward to 1995. At first glance, there was nothing unusual about that year's penny. It featured the same Lincoln Memorial reverse used since 1959. It was struck mostly at the Philadelphia Mint, which, by tradition, didn't use a mint mark on its coins, but hidden among the millions of pennies struck that year, a few were different. And over time, coin collectors began to whisper about an oddity. A minor detail. Barely noticeable to the naked eye, but a feature so rare and unique, it would make this penny one of the most desirable coins in the world. Hold on to that thought, because we're about to dig into what makes this coin so valuable. The answer is a combination of factors. First and foremost, we have to talk about a phenomenon known as a double die. In simple terms, this occurs when the coin die, the metal piece used to stamp the coin's design, is misaligned during production. The result? A doubling effect on parts of the coin's features, usually most visible in the date or the letters die. In the case of the 1995 penny, some coins were struck with a strong double die on the obverse side. Specifically, the words Liberty and In God We Trust appeared doubled under magnification. But here's where things get interesting. While most of these error coins have a mint mark or come from known batches, a few without a mint mark slip through the cracks, and these are incredibly rare. One such example was recently sold at auction for a staggering $1.4 million. Yes, for a coin that many people would overlook or toss in a tip jar. Because now, let's find out how to tell if you've got one of these beauties in your collection. Great question. The key is in the detail. You'll need a magnifying glass or coin loupe to inspect your coin closely. Look at the word Liberty. The letters should appear thick, with a clear doubling effect. Same goes for In God We Trust. It's not just shadowing, it looks like each letter was stamped twice. These valuable specimens come from the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not mark its coins. So your penny should have no letter under the year, no D, no S. Condition matters. Coins in uncirculated or mint state condition are worth far more. Look for sharp details, minimal wear, and no scratches. If your coin has been handled heavily, it might still be worth something, just not in the millions. But before you run off checking your change jar, let's talk about the story behind how this coin first got its fame. Because it wasn't an overnight success, back in the late 90s and early 2000s, word began to spread among collectors about a strange 1995 penny with an unusual look. Dealers at coin shows started bringing microscopes to their booths just to examine pennies more closely. Eventually, certified grading companies like PCGS and NGC began confirming these double die varieties. Then came the big sales. One collector sold a specimen in near perfect condition for over $50,000. That caused a ripple effect. Prices began to climb. And soon, the 1995 double die penny became a legend. While many people knew about the version with a mint mark, the no mint mark version was flying under the radar. That's what makes it so special. It wasn't until one incredibly well-preserved example, no mint mark, strong doubling, flawless surface, hit the auction block that the game changed. A jaw-dropping $1.4 million. The collector who sold it had no idea it was that valuable when he first tucked it away. And now here's the question: what if you've already seen this coin before, and just didn't know what you were holding? You see, coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's a world of hidden knowledge. Of secrets waiting to be uncovered. And timing is everything. A penny worth $1 today might be worth $1 million tomorrow, if it's rare enough and in demand. That's why serious collectors don't just look at the date. They look at details. They study mint errors. They know which years to watch and which varieties to hold onto. The 1995 no mint mark Lincoln penny is a perfect example of that. It's the kind of coin that could be hiding in a roll from the bank or buried deep in your granddad's cigar box. It's overlooked by millions, and yet, it has made millionaires. So what should you do if you find one? You're going to want to stay tuned for that, because in this next part, I'm going to walk you through how to sell it, safely, smartly, and for top dollar. Let's say you've checked your penny, and the doubling is clear. No mint mark. It's in amazing shape. What now? First, don't clean it. Ever. Cleaning coins actually reduces their value. Collectors want originality. Next, take high-resolution photos and send them to a reputable coin grading service. PCGS and NGC are the top two. They'll authenticate and grade your coin. This is essential if you want to fetch high-end collector interest. Major coin auctions like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers can get you national exposure and competitive bidding. Some high-end collectors may offer more in a private deal, especially if the coin is graded MS67 or higher. Be careful here. Sites like eBay have a huge audience, but you'll need to know your buyer and protect yourself with proper insurance and documentation. And finally, keep an eye on timing. Coin values fluctuate. If a similar penny just broke a record, that's the perfect moment to sell. But before we wrap this up, let me ask you something. What if the next coin you find changes your life? That's the real magic of coin collecting. It's not just about value, it's about discovery, history, mystery, and the thrill of the hunt. So tonight, after this video ends, go find that old change jar. Open that dusty drawer. Check the bottom of that glove box in your car. Because a simple penny from 1995, one without a mint mark, one with a little doubling in just the right place, could be sitting there quietly waiting to be found. You won't just be holding copper. You'll be holding history. And maybe, just maybe, a $1.4 million miracle. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more coin secrets. And remember, sometimes, the smallest coins carry the biggest stories. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers. Let me ask you a question right out the gate. What if I told you there could be a single penny hiding in your old junk drawer, in a coffee can full of spare change, or even in your grandfather's cigar box that could change your entire life? That's not a fantasy. It's a fact. Because there's one particular penny from 1981 without a mint mark that has shocked collectors, stunned investors, and turned the heads of millionaires. This little copper coin, once worth just a cent, is now valued at a jaw-dropping $1.50 million. Grab your favorite drink, sit back, and get ready for a wild ride through history, mystery, and money as we explore the incredible story of the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around until the end. There's a twist that most collectors don't even know about, one that could be the key to unlocking your very own hidden fortune. Ronald Reagan was preparing to take office, MTV hadn't even launched yet, and the average gallon of gas cost around $1.25. Amid all that, the US Mint was busy churning out billions, and I mean billions, of Lincoln Memorial pennies. These weren't rare at the time. In fact, pennies from 1981 were so common, people barely noticed them. They jingled in pockets, piled up in cash registers, and got lost between couch cushions. But here's where things take a turn. In 1981, the Philadelphia Mint was still producing coins without a mint mark. That meant if your penny didn't have a little D or S under the date, it likely came from Philly. But something unexpected happened. A small number of those 1981 pennies were struck with such unusual precision, from an ultra-rare die, that they didn't just look different, they were different. Collectors started noticing that some of these coins had strange surface features, odd die polish lines, and highly detailed Lincoln busts that looked sharper than the rest. These weren't your run-of-the-mill pennies, and that's when the hunt began. It's not just age. It's not just copper. It's not even just the lack of a mint mark. It's a perfect storm of rarity, condition, history, and one very specific detail, something known as die variety. That's when a coin is struck from a die that has an unusual, and often unintentional, difference in design. In the case of the 1981 no mint mark penny, only a few coins were struck using a transitional die intended for proof coins. That means these coins were never supposed to enter general circulation, but somehow, they did. A coin with exceptional detail, deep strikes, mirror-like fields, and virtually nowhere. One of these coins recently surfaced and sold at auction for a whopping $1.5 million. You heard that right, a single penny. Gone from pocket change to life-changing. But here's the kicker: experts believe more of these coins exist. They could be sitting unnoticed in penny jars, old dressers, or rolls of coins at your local bank. Think about that for a moment. You could be one bankroll away from a fortune. Alright, let's get into the details. You need to know what to look for. First, flip the coin to the front, also called the obverse. You should see Abraham Lincoln facing right with the words, "In God We Trust," above and "Liberty" to the left. The date 1981 should be on the right side. Now, here's the first clue: there should be no mint mark under the date. Second, check the surface. These rare pennies often have a mirror-like finish. That's a telltale sign they were struck using a proof die. If the coin looks shinier than others or reflects light differently, that's a good sign. Third, examine the fine details of Lincoln's beard, hair, and jacket. If they're unusually sharp, almost like they were carved with a scalpel, you may have a gemmy. Flip to the back, the reverse side. You should see the Lincoln Memorial. Look closely. Some rare varieties have slight doubling in the columns or in the word United States of America. And finally, condition matters. Even if your coin has all the right signs, it must be in near perfect shape. We're talking about a grade of MS67 or higher. That's mint state, meaning it's basically untouched, which brings us to an important question. If you find a 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny that checks the boxes, don't rush off to your local pawn shop. This is where most people mess up. They undersell. Your first step is to avoid cleaning the coin. Do not try to polish it. That will ruin the surface and destroy its value. Next, get in touch with a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate and grade the coin, giving it an official certificate and sealed slab. Once graded, your coin becomes a marketable asset. That's when the big auction houses step in, like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbauer's. And here's the exciting part: investors and collectors are actively searching for these rare errors and transitional coins. They'll pay big money for the right piece, especially one with provenance, meaning it's certified and documented. This coin could pay off your house. Fund your retirement. Send your kids to college. All from 1 copper cent. Recently, whispers have begun circulating in the coin community about an even rarer 1981 penny. These are coins believed to be struck using experimental dies, possibly in testing for the zinc transition that occurred the following year in 1982. They carry traits of both copper and zinc, and their weight falls in between. Only a couple of these hybrid coins have been verified. The price could surpass $2 million. Imagine being one of the first to identify a new coin variety. That's the kind of discovery that lands you in the numismatic history books. And here's the suspenseful part: experts believe the majority of these coins are still out there. They're hiding in plain sight. So now you know the secret of the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny. It's not just a coin. It's a time capsule, a mystery, a treasure waiting to be found. If you've got a jar of old change, go through it. Look twice at every 1981 penny. No mint mark? Shiny finish? Sharp detail? It could be your golden ticket, because the truth is, we're living in a time where information is power, and those who know what to look for are already cashing in. This isn't just a story about money. It's about the thrill of discovery, the joy of history, and the possibility that wealth is sitting right beneath our noses. So grab your magnifying glass, roll up your sleeves, and start searching. Your fortune might be just 1 penny away. Make sure to subscribe for more rare coin stories and millionaire discoveries hiding in your spare change. And remember, the next great treasure may already be in your pocket.